Oh, hello there. This is Kit from the Tualatin Public Library, and as you might have noticed, I love rainbows. But did you know that rainbows can look different depending on the light source? We're used to seeing the ones in the sky, but there are other ones that can be created by lights like LEDs or fluorescence. And there's a special way you can see those. It's called a spectrograph. So let's today make a spectrograph. We'll use a cardboard tube and an old CD and just a few office supplies. All right, let's get started. All right, to get started, we will need a cardboard tube. This one came from a paper towel roll. Just as long as it's a long cylinder, though, we can use it. An old CD. I don't know how many of you have these still laying around, but I did. And then some paper to put on the end. And we'll need a craft knife, scissors, pencil, tape, and a ruler. All right, let's begin. First, we're going to be creating a 45-degree angle. So I want to make the slit so that it will fit the CD all the way up to the ring there. So I measured that up. It looks about 1.5 inches. So we will cut 1.5 inches slit for that. To make the 45-degree angle, I find the easiest way is to use a corner of a piece of paper, and I measured up 1.5 inches. This is where we start to go a little bit wrong because the 1.5 inches should be from the base to the top of the triangle, not the sides. That's all right. We fix that in a minute. So I measure up about 2 inches from the top bottom. It doesn't matter how much you do, just give a rough mark so that A, you can keep your paper straight when you put the template on there, and B, because you're going to turn it around and you're going to have a hole that's cut about the same length up the pole of the cardboard. So that's just that. All right, now we put that down there. We're going to mark out our angles here, and it's 45 degrees on each side, meeting in a 90-degree angle. Later on, I figured out that this would probably be better if you actually rounded off the top so that you don't leave a gap up there for the CD, but it works just fine this way. It's just a little smoother the other way. And this is when I figure out that after I pry this open and put this in, oops, yeah, so that's not deep enough. So I think about it for a moment. I'm like, oh, right, okay. So then I get the ruler and I measure down 1.5 inches and I cut down to that line. And when we fit it back in, there we go. It slides into halfway there. Great. We'll need that surface to reflect the light off of. And so then we will go next to making the hole on the other side so we can see inside of the tube. So I just take a pencil and I ran it around because, at this point I didn't have the same mark as I had before. Just give me a very, uh, an accurate idea of where the thing would go, the hole would go. And there we go. Just draw a little bit of a square opposite of that slit. Doesn't have to be precise. This is just where you're going to be looking into. So try not to get it too big because we don't want too much light leaking in there. But that's about right there. And say what, 1 inch on each side. And there you go. That's how you would see it. But we need to narrow down the light source just a little bit because while the light coming in the other side, we want to be able to break it into more of a prism shape. And so what we're going to do is we are going to draw roughly around the top of the tube to get a rough circle. We're going to be taping this to the end of our cardboard tube, um, and that will narrow down the focus of the light. So first I cut a slit in here so that I can fit it on top and tape it down. I will not go into how terrible my taping skills are. We'll fast forward through that. But once I had it attached, then I take a pencil and I drew a long, skinny rectangle um, with the hole in mind, trying to make the long side along the hole at the bottom, though it's not terribly important. You can do this beforehand if you bother to measure. I think I probably should have before. It would have made things a lot cleaner. There you go. Now, again, watching my terrible taping. We're just going to tape this down so that the light is blocked mostly from getting in. And then, because my tape job was so terrible, I then took a very long piece of tape and put it around. So this is not pretty, but it will be functional. All right, then we just slide the ICD in, and we'll look through the hole. And I'll show you what the lights look like from different sources. Here we see sunlight. This is pretty much what we would normally look like. And then here's fluorescent light. And see how it breaks down? It's super interesting. And just because I always have to make a fancy version of one of these, here is one I made out of a gift tube that I got from Michael's. Well, I have to say, that is beautiful, and it makes me so excited to see all the different kind of rainbows there are out there. This is Kit from the Tualatin Public Library, wishing you a happy sun-filled day, or at least a day full of rain and rainbows.